My name is Brandy Purcell, and I will be discussing the relationship between reliability and validity, the different types of validity evidence, and the idea that validity is a unitary concept. As defined within the Validity and Reliability in Social Sciences research publication by Drost, reliability is the extent to which measurements are repeatable when different persons perform the measurements on different occasions, under different conditions, with supposedly alternative instruments which measure the same thing. In sum, reliability is consistency of measurement or stability of measurement over a variety of conditions in which basically the same result should be obtained. As compared to validity, validity is the extent to which a measurement is sound or reasonable. Reliability and validity are closely related. Using an example that was extremely easy for me to understand using a bathroom scale, which was provided by the Center for Applied Linguistics. If the scale is reliable, it tells you the same weight every time you step on it, as long as your weight hasn't changed. However, if the scale is not working, the number reflected may not be your weight. Relating this to testing, the situation is essentially the same. A test can be reliable, meaning that the test takers will get the same score no matter when or where they take it, within reason, of course. However, that doesn't mean that it is truly valid or measuring what it is supposed to. A test can be reliable without being valid. However, a test cannot be valid unless it is reliable. Using the scale, for it to be valid and reliable, not only does it need to tell you the same weight every time you step on the scale, but it also has to measure your actual weight. Taking a closer look at validity, there are 6 types of validity evidence. In reviewing the Binding and Barrett source, Validity of Personnel Decisions, as well as the Web Center for Social Research Methods, I've summarized these in a way that I was best able to understand based on these sources. Base validity refers to whether a test appears to be valid, so not what the test actually measures, but what the test appears to measure. Perhaps you are evaluating an employee engagement survey. In reading through the questions, you may at face value find that the questions seem appropriate for the survey and that they will be able to measure employee engagement. Content validity refers to checking the operation against relevant content. And taking the employee engagement survey as an example, you may lay out the criteria that should be met and is in theory representative of a successful employee engagement survey. Then, taking all these criteria, you would essentially examine the survey by comparing the criteria with the survey in order to evaluate its effectiveness. Predictive validity involves assessing the operation's ability to predict something it should, in theory, be able to predict. Perhaps the measure of math ability would be able to predict how successful an individual may be in an engineering-based profession. The measure could be given to experienced engineers to see if there's a high correlation, and if so, this would provide supportive evidence. Concurrent validity assesses the operation's ability to distinguish between groups that it should, in theory, be able to distinguish between. Perhaps an exam is administered. One is a practical test, and the second exam is a paper test. If the students who score well on the practical test also score well on the paper test, then concurrent validity has occurred. Convergent validity examines the degree to which the operations is similar to other operations that in theory should be similar to. For instance, to show the convergent validity of a Head Start program, evidence may be gathered that shows that the program is similar to other Head Start programs. Discriminant validity examines the degree to which operation is not similar to other operations that it in theory should not be similar to. For instance, to show discriminant validity of a Head Start program, evidence may be gathered that shows that the program is not similar to other early childhood programs that don't label themselves as Head Start programs. Moving on, validity has actually been reconceptualized as a unitary factor known as construct validity. Essentially, this points to the fact that there are no distinct kinds of validity, but rather numerous sources of evidence to support the interpretation. All validity bears on validation of the claims we want to make with respect to the construct. Therefore, essentially all validity is construct validity.